So I open up the door. This is so embarrassing. And I look up and I grab whatever it is, and it was a bunch of condoms. Like a bunch of condoms, just boom, just stashed up in my door.
Why don't you get it by now? Tell me what you learned in grade school. Give it to me like you want it. Did you?
Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. This is All Things Katrina Renee, and I am Katrina Renee. In today's video, I am going to be diving a little bit into a topic that I've been wanting to talk to y'all about. Not gonna lie, it took me a minute to record this because I'm nervous. I'm super nervous to talk about this because I'm getting very personal in this video. And we're gonna talk about my divorce from my first husband. I got married when I was 21 years old to my oldest daughter's dad, and it was not a forced marriage, but it was a heavily influenced marriage because I was pregnant with my daughter. And I don't know if you all come from the same type of families or know somebody who came from these type of families, but my mom was super religious, and back then she was just like, you gotta marry her. Like, you having this baby now, y'all gotta get married. It is what it is. And I mean, you know, me thinking, you know, I mean, I think that's just, I just saw people doing that. If a girl got pregnant, she was getting married. And that was just normal back in the day. So that's what happened. I got pregnant in college and my mom made me come home. So I ended up having to leave college my sophomore year, go home and have this baby. And when I had the baby, it was known that we were getting married, and we did. You know, he did what he thought was right at the moment and proposed to me, and we got married. A little backstory on this marriage is that I met him the very first day of my freshman year in undergrad. We met in college, and I think he was standing outside the boys' dorms and I was on my way to band camp. And he asked for my room number, and back in the day, our room number was just 4 digits, and I think it was 4554 or 5445 or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, so I was like, I don't even know if I really want to give him my room number, but he was kind of cute. So I was like, okay, you know, whatever. College, YOLO, here you go. Boop, here's my number. I didn't hear from him. And if I did hear from him, I just didn't answer the phone. I can't remember. But I do remember going to the cafeteria one day. It was like a week or two later. Going to the cafeteria one day, and one of my homegirls was like, hey, you know, R, we're just gonna say his name is R basically has been looking for you, looking to talk to you and looking for you and calling you. And he basically said that he was done trying to even reach out to you because you were stuck up. And I just remember being offended by that. Like, first of all, I don't even remember giving him my number. And second of all, I'm not stuck up. Like, I'm the most down to earth girl you would ever meet. So I was like, let me go find this guy. So I went and found him to prove that I was not stuck up. And ever since that day, we have been like this. Like, if you saw me, you saw him. If you saw him, you saw me. We were like thick as thieves, but we were very young. I was 18 when I met him. Yeah, I was 18 when I met him, 19 when I got pregnant. So I got pregnant a year later. And it's a bunch of story times within that college experience that I could share with y'all if y'all want to know about them. Like me moving out of the girls' dorm into the boys' dorm, getting caught, getting kicked out, all that stuff. Leave a comment down below and I'll be more than happy to share that with you all if that's what y'all want to hear. Now, mind you, any of these story times that I share is going to be actual events that truly happened. I'm just going to kind of change the name of the person that is involved. And it's really more so just to open up to y'all so y'all can know more about me. That's it. That's all. So anyway, on to us getting pregnant and all that good stuff. Got pregnant, my mom found out about that, made me come home, came home, made us get married when we got married. Mind you, we were both very young. So, you know, I am of the understanding, and my personal opinion is that women mature faster than men. And he just had not sown his royal oats, like, at all. He was definitely a serial cheater is what I would call him. Now that I'm older though, I don't really care anymore. Like, not even just now, but like for the past 10 years, I just haven't cared about that aspect of his life and the things that he did to end our marriage. We literally had no business getting married. We didn't get married because we loved each other. We got married because we were told, she's pregnant, y'all need to get married, and that's just that. He did a lot of things to me during our marriage that things I would never tolerate now are things I dealt with in that marriage, because I felt like I watched my mom be in a marriage for 43 years. You're just supposed to stay married. You're supposed to stick it out, you know, like you're supposed to stick this out. So I'm like, oh, it'll change. You know, he'll do good for 3 months and then he'll fall off. He'll do good for 3 months and he'll fall off. That gets tiring after a while. And it started to take a toll on me as an individual, constantly catching him cheating or finding out that he's cheating. Other women reaching out to me reaching out to other women. Like, I didn't want to, me checking his phone, like just going crazy. I did not want to keep living that life, you know? And at this point, we'd already had our daughter. Oh, let's backtrack. Mind you, I left college for 2 years and then we moved back. So I left college, went to Kansas City, stayed there for 2 years and realized that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to go and finish undergrad. And so we ended up moving from Kansas City back to Arkansas, which is where I went to school at. And it just, the cheating did not stop. It intensified. Like, it got worse. Like, when I say worse, it got worse. I'm more than happy to do story time on these things, y'all, as well, because some of this stuff is comical. Now that I think about it in hindsight, some of this stuff I can't believe happened because it just seems like it's just unreal. And some of it is just downright like heartbreaking, you know, because not even heartbreaking, it is heartbreaking only like if I can imagine it being my daughter going through it. My heart would be broken for her and I would just want to beat this dude up. But even though I married him only because we had a baby, the choice to get a divorce still was not easy for me because I didn't want to be like, I did not want to be divorced. I didn't want to be that woman who had a divorce under her belt because I was still young. I was 25 when I got a divorce. I was like, I'm so young, but I'm divorced before I'm 30. This is crazy. And then I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get married again. So here I am now, I have 2 husbands. And then, you know, we had a daughter. And so I'm like, man, I had the fear of like getting in another relationship with somebody and just not knowing who this person was and they mistreat my daughter or even worse, do something sexually to her. Like, those were thoughts literally that would go through my mind when it was time for me to think about leaving and or getting a divorce. The final straw for me, which finally led me to this, is my mom came down for my graduation. And she was like, my mom and my sister, and they were looking at me and they were like, you look so bad. Like I looked tired, you know, like I looked tired. I was losing all kinds of weight. I looked sad. I just looked unhappy. You could just see it. I wore it like a shirt. And I remember them saying that, and I was truly unhappy because there were so many things that were going on that, as far as cheating is concerned and infidelity, that I was embarrassed to talk to people about, you know? I was just embarrassed. Like, I didn't want them to know the things I was dealing with and the things I was going through. And I also didn't want them to be mad at him. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of stuff I kind of kept inside. So I was super embarrassed. And at this point, nobody really knew what was going on. But the straw that brought the camel's back, my parents came down for my graduation. And up until that point, like, I knew that I was going to prepare myself to leave. I knew I was going to be leaving the day after my graduation. I wasn't going to tell him. I was like, let me get my degree. And once I get my degree, I'm out. I didn't really believe that though. Like, that's just what I kept telling myself because I couldn't imagine myself leaving. So my parents came down, they're sitting here, we're in the apartment and we're just like, you know, we're chilling in the apartment. And we have this closet, we had like a closet in our hallway in our apartment. So I'm walking and I look up in the closet and I see like reflectors, like almost like a mirror in the closet door. I'm like, what is that? Like the vents. So I open up the door. This is so embarrassing. I open up the door and I look up and I grab whatever it is and it was a bunch of condoms. Like a bunch of condoms, just boom, just stashed up in my door. Like he just like stuffed them up in there. Mind you, as I'm seeing this and I'm like, what is that? I'm telling my mom and my dad and my sister, they're sitting there and it's this shiny thing. I'm like, well, what is that? And so of course they're like, I don't know. So they're watching me go check this door and I pull out all these condoms. I was so embarrassed because in reality, I'm married to this man. I'm like, we don't even use these. So what is this? Honey, I was so embarrassed and I was just like, I just bust out crying. And I was embarrassed because now everything I tried to hide in or keep inside is just then came to fruition in front of everybody. He was at work. Of course, I couldn't call him when he was at work. So left work, came home, and that's when he found out that I found everything. It was a huge blow up. And so I was like, I'm leaving. So my graduation was the next day. So the next day, that night, all of the night, my family, we packed up all me and Zaria's stuff. As much stuff that we could pack up to fit in my car, including our dog, we did. So my car was so packed from side to side, and Zaria was scrunched right in the middle. And then everything from in the front seat was packed up. I packed up everything in one night, went to my graduation, walked across the stage, got my degree, got in the car, and we drove all the way to Kansas City. At that point, I didn't think I was gonna get a divorce even still. I just was like, I need to go back home. I need a break. I need to get away. It's more important for me to just go clear my mind at home with my family so that my daughter doesn't see all this negativity and me crying and all the pain and, you know, just us not getting along with each other, because I didn't want to skew like her, even through all this, I didn't want to skew her perception of her dad, and I still don't want to, and I still never will. Because that's her dad at the end of the day. And so one thing about kids, even us as adults, we're gonna love our parents no matter what. Like, yeah, it does suck to see them go through things, but like my dad will always be my dad, and my mom will always be my mom, and I'm gonna always love them regardless. And so I knew, let me just make this easier for her. Let's just roll out, and I'm not even gonna talk bad on this man. I'm gonna figure it out. I still didn't know at this moment if I was gonna get divorced or not. I go back home. So I'm at, you know, back at home, I'm working, and saving up money. And while I was at home, I had time to think, and I was like, you know, I really want my family to stay together. And he said the same thing. Like, he wanted his family to stay together. We was gonna work it out. And I was like, I didn't want to go back to Arkansas, you know, but I knew that I needed to go back to be with my husband so that he could finish school, we can be there, and we can work on this family thing together. But shortly after we made that determination that we were going to be back together, his mind changed. Like, his mind changed like out of nowhere. It was like, we're working to get back to Arkansas. I'm excited about the idea of our family being back together. I'm not excited about going to Arkansas, but I'm excited about it. And then his whole tune just like completely changed. Like, he didn't want to do it anymore. He was 100% dead set that I'm done. I don't want to do this no more, blah, blah, blah. And a piece of me already knew what was going on the inside as to why. I just had intuition. Like, nobody knew him. I mean, there was nobody down there reporting back to me. Like, I didn't know really what was going on, but I had an intuition that something was going on and something was wrong. And so I, you know, asking him for understanding and asking him why. And then I got to the point where I was like, I don't want to beg anymore, because I'm not going to beg you to be with me, and you probably haven't changed anyway. So I guess it's best that we just call this quits. Like, let's just be done with it, because he said that basically. And come to find out, the reason why is because, of course, he had moved on, and he ended up, and I found out he had a baby on the way. And that was my initial thought and intuition. I was like, somebody is pregnant right now. Like, I just knew somebody was pregnant. And so he ended up getting somebody pregnant that actually was his superior at his job. So that was a whole nother ball game within itself. But I knew when he changed his mind, something was wrong. And it hurt me, you know what I'm saying? It really did hurt me to my core, because I was excited about going back to work on what we had. But it was just not a good situation for me to be in, nor was it an easy decision to make to move forward with the divorce, because divorce is not free and it does cost money. And so then you got this guy who's not even willing to help out. You know, you got to then come to an agreement, who's going to pay for the divorce, who's going to do this, who's going to do that. And it was just more important for me to make sure that this was done. So I did what I had to do, and I paid for my divorce, and that was it. So that's a little story time, I guess, or a little back history on my path to divorce. It's not a decision that you just make overnight. It's not something that just happens out of nowhere. I think in the end, ultimately, I knew that he wasn't ready to change. He was not going to change. And I do believe that a big part of the reason why he did the things he did is because we were young. He was still young. Like, I just don't think that men should get married that young. And to get married at 20, like, no, they're just not ready. And he just was not ready. And, you know, I forgive him to this day. I still forgive him for anything and everything that we went through, because he also didn't have the best role models. You know, he didn't have the best role models to teach him how to be a man and how to be a husband. You know, he didn't have family really that he could go talk to when we were going through the things that we were going through. And so for those reasons, I cannot be upset with that man. I do believe that the divorce was one of the best things that could have happened to me. I could not imagine being the woman I am today had I stayed in that marriage, emotionally, mentally, none of that. So all of the decision took years for me to make. Although it was a tough decision to make, I'm glad that, you know, that decision was made to divorce. It was hard though. I had plenty of moments and plenty of nights even after the divorce where my insecurity, my self-esteem was completely shot. I didn't think I was pretty. I didn't think nobody would want me because I had a kid, you know? So it took a lot for me to accept that I was getting a divorce. It was embarrassing. It took a lot for me to accept that he had a kid on the way. That was super embarrassing. But it was a decision that I would never take back. One of the best decisions I could have ever made. At the end of the day, you gotta make sure that you healthy and you happy and be able to be there to take care of your children and take care of yourself. Anyway, you guys, I just wanted to share a little bit about my road to divorce and what kind of made me make that decision. There are some story times within that realm that are like in my college days. It's gonna be some story times. But if y'all want them, let me know if that's what y'all want to hear, because there's plenty of them and I can make sure to sit down and record it. I still didn't say everything I wanted to say in this video because I want to be mindful of the things that I do say on here and the things that I say about him, because he was young. We were both young and dumb, realistically. And I'm not upset with him. I'm not mad at him. And I think it's because I've had time to heal and time to understand the things that, you know, maybe he went through in his life before me and his childhood, and it just formed him to be the way that he is. And him and Zaria have a great relationship now. Charles and him have a great relationship. I mean, it's a cordial relationship. They ain't buddy, but if they ever come in town, he's always welcome in our home. His family and his children are always welcome in our home, and it just makes it better for all the kids involved, and it makes it better for us, you know, as well. So I'm really happy where we are with that situation. It took a lot of growth, but we made it through. And you know, it may not be the perfect blended family, but I feel like my family right here, right now in this household, to me, we're perfectly blended. And I love that, and I wouldn't change it, and I would not have it no other way. But you guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed this semi-story time on my road to divorce. In the meantime, in between time, till the next time, bye!